Hi there, and welcome. You're tuned in for today's deep dive. Ever wondered how to really say something is the absolute best, or maybe the worst, in English?
Uh-huh.
Today, we're breaking down exactly that. Superlative adjectives,
Hmm.
how to express those extremes without sounding, well, a bit off.
Exactly. And the sources we looked at, they really focus on what these adjectives are and, crucially, how to form them correctly.
Right.
Our mission today is to help you feel really confident using these powerful words so your English sounds more natural, more precise, and you can sort of ditch those common mistakes.
Yeah, let's nail this down. We'll dig into the basic rules, those special cases, and those tricky, irregular adjectives that just don't play by the rules.
Hmm.
Get ready for some aha moments that should help you feel way more comfortable describing things at their highest or lowest degree. So let's start with the basics. What exactly are superlative adjectives?
Well, fundamentally, they're adjectives that compare one thing against a whole group, highlighting the highest or lowest degree of equality.
Oh,
So you're not just comparing two things, you're picking one out of many.
gotcha. Like the examples from the sources help make it concrete, saying she is the tallest girl in her class.
Right.
That doesn't just describe her height, it compares her to everyone else in the class, saying she's number one in height.
Exactly. Or, this is the most comfortable chair I've ever used. You're comparing it to all your past chair experiences, and this one wins for comfort.
And it works the other way too, right? Like, he is the worst driver I know.
Definitely. You're comparing that person to, well, all the drivers you know, and placing them at the very bottom in terms of skill.
Makes sense.
Understanding that core idea, comparing one to a group to find the extreme, is really key. If you want clarity and efficiency when you're learning, it lets you use them right.
Absolutely. So the big question then is, how do we actually make these superlative adjectives? Because that's where things can get a little, sticky sometimes.
Mhm.
Let's break down the rules step by step. No more confusion. Starting with the short ones, the one-syllable adjectives. What's the general rule there?
Okay, so for most of those short one-syllable adjectives, the rule is pretty straightforward. You just add s to the end.
Simple enough. The source gave tall becoming tallest.
Yep. Tall. Tallest.
So you could talk about the tallest building in your city. Easy. Got another simple one?
Sure. Think cold. Add s, you get coldest.
Right.
So you can talk about the coldest day of the winter.
Okay, got it. Now, there's a little wrinkle for some one-syllable words, the ones with that specific pattern. Consonant, vowel, consonant, or CVC.
Ah, yes, the CVC pattern.
What happens with those? Is there an extra step?
Yes, there is.
Hmm.
With adjectives ending in CVC, to keep that short vowel sound, you need to double the final consonant before you add the est.
Okay, double the consonant. Can you give us a couple of examples so we can picture that?
Of course. Take big. B-I-G.
Mm-hmm.
That fits the CVC pattern.
Yeah.
So you double the final G, then add est. B-I-G-G-E-S-T. Biggest. Like the biggest pizza you've ever seen.
Okay, biggest. Makes sense. Another one.
How about hot? H-O-T. Same logic. Double the T, add est. Hottest.
Hottest. Got it. Like the hottest day of the summer. Okay, what about adjectives that already end in E, like large? Do we add another E?
No, thankfully, if the adjective already ends in E, you just add est. It keeps things simpler, avoids that double E.
Okay, so just est. Example.
Like you said, large. It already has the E, so just add est to get largest.
Nice and easy. Excellent. Now let's tackle those adjectives ending in that sometimes tricky Y. How do we make them superlative?
Right, the Y ending. For those, the rule is change the Y to an est and then add est.
Change Y to I, add est. Got it. Can we have a couple of examples to lock that in?
Sure. Think funny, ends in G.
Mm-hmm.
Change Y to est at est. You get funniest. So you can talk about the funniest joke you ever heard.
Funniest. Okay. Another one.
Happy, same process, becomes happiest, the happiest moment.
Perfect. So we've covered the rules for one-syllable adjectives and their variations, CVC, ending in E, ending in Y. What about the longer words? Adjectives with two or more syllables, is the formula different?
Yes, it changes for longer adjectives, generally those with two or more syllables. Instead of adding an ending, we usually put the word most before the adjective.
Boast. Okay. Can you give us some examples from the sources showing how that works?
Absolutely. Take comfortable. That's got multiple syllables.
Right.
So to say the most comfortable, you use most comfortable, like the most comfortable armchair.
Makes sense.
Another one could be innovative. To say the most innovative, it's most innovative. This is super useful for those longer, more complex words.
Okay, great. So just to recap quickly, short adjective, usually add est, with tweaks for CVC, D, or Y. Longer adjective, put most in front.
That's the gist of it for the regular ones.
But what about those words that just march to their own beat? Let's talk about the irregular superlatives.
Ah, yes, the irregulars. This is where you can get tripped up if you're not careful.
Yeah.
The key thing here is that their superlative form is unique. It doesn't follow the ust or most patterns we just discussed.
Yeah.
Honestly, the best strategy is just memorization.
Right. And the source material gave us a really handy list of the common ones. Should we run through some of those?
Let's do it. First up, good. Its superlative isn't goodest, obviously.
Okay.
It's best.
Best. Got it. Then there's bad. That becomes worst.
Worst. Hopefully you don't need to use that one too often.
Huh. Yeah. What's next?
Far. This one's interesting. It has two options. Farthest or furthest. Both mean the most distant.
Farthest or furthest?
Yeah.
Is one more common than the other?
It can depend a bit on context.
Yeah.
Farthest often relates more to physical distance. Furthest can be more abstract. But honestly, they're often used interchangeably. The source lists both.
Okay. Then fun. Also listed with two forms. Funnest or most fun?
Right. Both used to mean the most fun.
Which one sounds more, I don't know, natural?
That's a good question. I'd say most fun is probably a bit more common, maybe safer grammatically in formal contexts. But funnest is definitely used, especially informal speech. Both are acceptable according to the source.
Interesting. Okay, what else is on the list?
Then there's many. Its superlative is most. Now, the meaning here is slightly different, more about quantity, the largest number of, than degree, but it's listed as an irregular superlative, so good to know.
Absolutely. And, handsome.
Handsome becomes handsomest.
Handsomest. Okay. And stupid.
That becomes stupidest.
Politest.
It's from polite, yeah.
Politest.
And the last one on that list was quiet.
Quiet becomes quietest. So, yeah, as you can see, these don't follow the standard rules at all. Memorizing them is definitely the way to go.
No doubt about it. Time to make some flashcards. Okay, now let's shift to some important grammar tips the source highlighted for using these superlatives correctly.
Right. A really key point is that superlatives are almost always preceded by the definite article, the.
Well, almost always. The source gives a clear example. She's the kindest person I know. That the before kindest is standard.
Why is that, do you think? Does it just emphasize the one and only?
Exactly.
Oh.
Because you're usually identifying one specific item or person that holds the extreme quality within that group. The helps pinpoint it. It defines which one you mean.
Makes sense. What's another point?
Another relevant point is that superlatives can also follow possessive adjectives or nouns.
Ah, okay. Like,
The example was, that is Carla's prettiest dress.
see how Carla's the possessive comes right before prettiest?
Yeah, I see. My best friend, her biggest achievement.
Exactly. And then there's a more subtle point the source mentioned, something maybe not everyone catches. When do we not always need the with a superlative?
Ooh, okay, tell us more. This sounds like advanced stuff.
It's when you're comparing something to itself at different times or levels. In those cases, the sometimes becomes optional. Comparing something to itself, how does that work?
The example given was, the pool reached in highest level. Here, highest level refers to the peak level the pool reached compared to its other possible levels.
Ah. Oh.
You're not comparing that pool to other pools, it's just its own states. So its highest level works without the, you could say the highest level it reached, but its highest level is common too.
Wow, that's a neat distinction. Always something new to learn. Okay, after all that explanation, I think it's the perfect time to put this into practice. The source suggested some exercises, so let's review them to really solidify things.
Sounds good. Let's test it out.
All right, first, they gave us some adjectives to change into their superlative form. First one, tiny. What's the superlative?
Okay, tiny ends in Y, so change Y at est, it becomes tiniest.
Tiniest, correct. Next up, fast. Superlative form.
Fast. One syllable, just add est. So fastest.
Fastest it is. Okay, now generous. More than one syllable here.
Right, generous. Longer word. So we use most before it. Most generous.
Most generous.
Right.
Perfect. Next, crazy. Ends in ya.
Crazy. Like tiny or happy, change I, add est, craziest.
Craziest. Excellent. And the last one, innovative. Multiple syllables again.
Yep, innovative. Longer word, so again, use most. Most innovative. How did everyone do? Did you get them all?
Hope so. Okay, part 2 of the practice. The source also gave some sentences to complete using the superlative form. First one, cheetahs are the animals in the world. The adjective is fast.
Okay, we just did fast. Superlative is fastest. So the sentence is, Cheetahs are the fastest animals in the world.
Perfect. Next sentence. Skydiving is one of the extreme sports of all. The adjective to use is crazy. Take a second to think about it.
All right, crazy. Superlative form is craziest. So skydiving is one of the craziest extreme sports of all.
Craziest,
Nah.
exactly. And the last fill in the blank. The 3D printer is one of the inventions of the 21st century, and the adjective is innovative. How do we complete that one?
Innovative. Superlative is most innovative. So the full sentence. The 3D printer is one of the most innovative inventions of the 21st century. These exercises really help apply what we've been talking about, don't they?
They really do. And speaking of applying things and learning in a structured way, the source material did mention the benefits of studying at a specialized English academy. What kind of advantages did it highlight?
Well, the source pointed out a few key benefits. One big one was getting involved in dynamic classes, using games, conversations, practical exercises. It makes learning these grammar rules feel less like memorizing and more interactive.
Yeah, learning through doing is usually more effective, right?
Totally. And it also mentioned the value of immediate correction.
Getting feedback right away. How does that help?
Having native or bilingual teachers correcting pronunciation and grammar on the spot is pretty crucial. It helps stop those common errors from becoming ingrained habits. It's like having a guide constantly nudging you onto the right path.
Good point. And what about other resources these places often provide?
They often give access to extra stuff like explanatory videos, online interactive activities, maybe regular assessments. These materials reinforce class learning and let you practice at your own pace.
Right.
The source specifically mentioned Success Academy as an option for folks in El Progreso or San Pedro Sula, or even for virtual study, if someone's looking for that deeper, more organized dive into the language.
Excellent info. And just like that, we've reached the end of our deep dive for today. Congratulations. You should now have a really solid understanding of superlative adjectives in English. From the basic rules to the irregulars and those little grammar details that make a difference, we hope this session has armed you with the tools to describe the world in its most extreme terms.
That's right. Think about all the situations where you can use these words now, talking about travel, your favorite foods, even describing people you know. Being able to use superlatives correctly really elevates your English expression, makes it more precise, more impactful.
Definitely. So as a final thought to leave you with, what do you think was the most interesting word or rule you learned about superlatives today? And maybe think about how you could weave it into a conversation tomorrow.
Yeah, give it a try.
Keep exploring, keep applying what you've learned. Until the next deep dive.